Really was only until Alejandro really came aboard and made this screenplay his own and really became attached to the material and this epic journey of survival and the way he wanted to shoot it, where it became an exciting prospect for me, because he really is a unique filmmaker. He's really one of a kind, and I knew it would take that type of director that gives you that truly immersive experience as an audience member. He's really developed his own approach and his own style to making movies throughout the years that has become synonymous with only him now. And there's very few filmmakers out there that I believe can do that, that really can make a true mark and not sort of fit into the sort of Hollywood mold and accomplish films like this on an epic scale. His process is very unique. Not many filmmakers do what he does. And a lot of it's trial and error. And a lot of it has to do with Chivo, who is a cinematographer, who's really, intrinsically a part of his process. And those two really immerse themselves in the material. There's a very extensive rehearsal period where all the actors get together and we sort of coordinate these very complex movements and shots. I think what they quite uniquely achieve is, especially and in particular in this film, is this almost virtual reality where you really feel like you're out in the elements with these characters. You really feel immersed in their lives, but he's also able to, have that camera move all the way through the wilderness, but stop at a very intimate moment with the character and explore that moment and then travel on. So you almost feel like some strange delusional wanderer watching all this chaos ensue, and you get the visual perspective of this of a character in the movie almost, but it's very subconscious. It's very it's not something that's overt, and that's, to me, the best and most interesting thing about their process, because that's what you want as an audience member. You want to be able to immerse yourself in an entirely different world. Hugh Glass is, stuff of legend by, the American campfires. He's a real life Paul Bunyan type of character, a man that survived extreme elements and was left to die by his hunting crew and buried alive, and crawled through the entire American wilderness on his own through hundreds of miles through the dead of winter to sort of seek revenge on the men that had done him wrong. So he's this sort of part of American folklore, but he was a real person, and these things really did happen. But I think more than anything, what Alejandro wanted to do was create poetry in that story, the poetry of what it means to have all the chips stacked against you, to have really very little chance at survival, and the sort of triumph of the human spirit, and what we can endure and what we go through, and what Hugh Glass realizes on that journey, and whether revenge is ultimately the thing that will quench his thirst at the end of the day. The unique set of challenges that he has as a father and his son has growing up in an environment like that is something that is an undertone throughout the rest of the movie. It's never overt, it's never spoken, but you get the essence that these people need to remain quiet, they're isolated, and they're alone in this world. And so the father-son bond in the movie becomes a very powerful thing, because he needs to teach his son to sort of disappear, to not be there, to just keep your head down and focus on what you need to do. And so he is essentially somebody that is working with fur trappers to earn a living, to survive, but there's a lot of racial conflict already starting to brew. And his whole objective with his son is, look, we have this will to survive, we're going to push through it no matter what. And these are things that he instills in his son at a very early age, through a lot of tragedy. And these same messages that he's trying to instill in his son are things that he needs to ultimately realize for himself when he's left alone in the middle of the wilderness, with very little chance to survive.